Hey guys, thanks for tuning back in again, and I appreciate it. And no, I'm sorry I missed yesterday. It's Monday. I want to go back and see what's going on with this mash here. I want to explain a little bit more about exactly what I'm doing with it. I know I've alluded to certain things. What I would probably consider myself a bit of a pragmatist. I like to find solutions for problems. Fuel has always been a huge interest of mine, and whatever it was. I grew up as a kid in Wyoming, and my dad was an iron worker, and he worked on a very large power plant outside of Wheatland, Wyoming, Laramie River Power Station, and I got to really grow up with that and really see how things came together. My parents were good friends with one of the engineering managers of the project, so he really took a lot of time with me to really show me everything in the process and everything else of what went into a coal-fired power plant back then. It was very interesting. Of course, I told you I had an interest in it. So anyway, it has started a lifelong love of fuels and trying to find fuels and everything else, because it always concerned me that I know one day we are going to run out of the fuels that we depend on. I don't care what you believe about them, they're needed, and we need to find a better way to fuel our society. I think we need to find a cleaner way to fuel our society, but the fact of the matter is, I don't think we're going to be able to get away from fuel. The best way of storing energy is chemically, period. Batteries won't do it. Batteries are terribly inefficient and you hear everything else that goes on with batteries now. Yes, technology's come quite a ways, but it has been, I would say, stagnated since lithium ions came on the scene. So anyway, so that I give you a little bit about that. So what I am doing here with this mash is I'm creating ethanol, basically, because I have a truck now, and luckily where I live at in Virginia, there's several E85 stations there, and I run exclusively E85 in my truck because it is a flex fuel engine. But and I don't want to use anything else besides E85. And most of the times that I have gotten E85 in the Richmond area, we've been closer to the 85% ethanol than not. I mean, I think I'd never seen it below 60%. And so I really want to, thank Sheets for taking such a big step in making sure that they do have E85 pumps at most of their stations around here. That's great and really helps me out to fulfill my goal, only wanting to burn E85 now. So in that, I know we have heard a lot of things about ethanol and, how it's bad for the land. Granted, we are humans, we are going to leave an impact on this planet. But, again, the way I feel about fuel is that I don't think there's any other way for us to power our civilization besides chemically storing energy. So what I want to do here, and my girlfriend Melissa told me I leaned into my accent a little bit too much on this last video, so I apologize for that. I can do that. That is my accent. Sometimes I have to try to get out of one sometimes in the business world, but I do have an accent, so you're welcome. And I'm sorry that I leaned into it a little bit far last time. But with this ethanol, we're making this mash, and I kind of want to, and I'm going to do some different mashes. I'm going to do some different percentages of corn and some other grains. I got some potatoes here that I want to do. Just to see the percentage and the time and the trouble it is to make ethanol come out of these things and be able to see its efficiency as a fuel, because I can tell you, my opinion on fuel now. I drive by now, and we live in Virginia. Virginia is a wooded state. All of our soils are mostly acidic because it's all woodlands. Swamps, we have a lot of black water swamps, and that's simply because it's acidic water. It's not hurt you acid, but it's acidic. And trees create a lot of tannins, which is tannic acid, that makes everything acidic, because That's what they like. And I know anybody that's tried to grow a fresh lawn in Virginia after a lot of trees have been cut down will have to put a lot of lime to try to neutralize that soil. So that's what that is. Now back to the ethanol, and so I'm going to pull this top on it. I didn't check on it yesterday, so it's been a couple days since we checked on it. I'm going to pull it up today. I did already pull the top, and it is bubbling nice. So what I'm going to do, I want to sit here, and hopefully you come along here and you can see. I'm going to try to get you and see this mash, and I'm going to stir it up some. And again, the process of this particular mash, and I can smell ethanol starting to come up in here now. I guess, you know, it's anywhere from 10 days to a couple weeks that we'll probably be getting this. So I want to mix this up. I want to know the temperature that it's been, you know, basically cooking at, and I want to see, I think a little bit. Last time I have some refractometers here. One is to test the sugars, and one is to test the percentage of alcohol in here. So I wanted to go over that with y'all, but of course, you know, we've gone over it. This particular mash here had 3 bags of frozen corn from the freezer section, so it's for human consumption from Food Lion grocery stores. Had 8 pounds of sugar, it was 2 4-pound bags of pure refined white sugar, and 3 gallons of water, and a cap full of active yeast put into it. And then we cooked it to about 165 degrees Fahrenheit, and then put the top on it, put the water lock, and let it has been cooking since. So here I want to kind of go over a little bit better with what I'm doing and really what my intent is with this. And the intent is to find out ratios and efficiencies and everything else. And I think as far as growing corn, I mean, they've got that down to such a science now that the numbers are easy to come by, because it's just we're masters at doing that now. But I just want to find out on this, and especially on my own, because you've seen a lot of information that runs the gauntlet from positive to negative and everything else. I remember I was a kid growing up too, and that's in Wyoming, since Wyoming was also a fossil fuel rich state, that a lot of guys during the fuel crisis started putting propane tanks and converting their trucks over to propane. And that they did that a lot because propane was readily available in Wyoming at the time. So that was pretty neat. And then the whole thing with what they used to call gasohol, which is ethanol, that they really started pushing to try to get in it to get us over the hump of that fuel crisis in the late 70s there. But anyway, here I am. I'm doing the ethanol, but one of the things I kind of lost track on, and that's why I know I need to start scripting these things, so I don't repeat myself as much, and that I can cover all the subjects that I really want to in a little bit more efficient manner than just shooting from the hip. But one of the things I see, the food for fuel conversation, you don't hear about it as much anymore. I think everybody's just kind of got shit full of hearing everything. But what I've seen here is that and a lot of people's and corporations' intent to try to go carbon negative, they have started creating a lot of solar farms in Virginia, and there's quite a few in the area that I live in, and they're pretty big, but they have taken old farm fields and put solar panels on it. So if we were growing corn on it, you have food for fuel, but if you put solar panels, I don't quite get the step how that solar panel is still not a food for fuel issue. That's my opinion. Y'all can leave in the comments what you think. So, and again, I feel like I'm a pragmatist about this. I just want to find some solutions. I want to find everything out about it. And like I say, we're doing these, I'm doing this, I'm trying to figure out the ratios, the cycles and everything else to kind of do it. I was involved with another alternative energy source and had invented quite a few things and had a lot of popularity with it quite a few years ago now. So I will still be getting into that too. But this is one I think is right here, right now for us. So I think we can all learn more about it together and learn the chemistry of it, because I I'm really, you know, I got out of the whole thing for a while because I had a bad experience with it, I guess you would say. And if I had to do it over again, I would probably say that I wouldn't, with the experience. I don't know. It was just a horrible experience for me. And I think everything that the government did at the time, I mean, I think there's an understanding that we're not going to get away from fuel. But they went all in on batteries. So if you weren't into battery technology, you were basically kind of left behind. So, and now you see where batteries are getting us now. We're at the same technology level that we were 15 years ago. And, you know, it's just not a good way to store energy, you know, car values and everything else. So I think the total cycle of the electric vehicle and the batteries, it's just not a convenient one. I don't think they're worth the wait for what it cost us as a society. So anyway, I've got this steered up, and like I say, I'm going to start going with the chemistry of it. I'm going to stand back up here, and I'm sorry if I get out of frame and everything else, but I do kind of want to let y'all see what I'm doing as I'm doing this. And this one, of course, I'm doing this with the GoPro camera again instead of my phone, so I get a little better footage, and I'm going to have to cut some clips together. So, and thank you for hanging in there with me while I bumble through this editing process also. But anyway, here, I've got a little clamp here, and I got a thermometer. So I'm going to take this thermometer here, and I'm going to put it down in here. I'm just going to let it sit for a while we're doing our other stuff, and we'll see where it where it balances out at. So also, I told you I have some refractometers here. I got some paper towels, and I got some little glass wipes to clean them because I know this stuff is laden with sugar, and I don't want my equipment getting all sticky and have to deal with a lot of ants this summer. So anyway, what this is a refractometer that tests the percentage of alcohol and things. So what I want to do here, and I have a little pipette that I have rinsed out earlier. So what I want to do, you open this little lens here. We're just going to take a little bit of this mash of the liquid you see here. I don't know, I got to look at the frames. And you just, oh man, it's a little cold too, so I got a little shaky. So I'm going to put a little bit on this view window here, and then you close this thing down, and basically when you close that down, you don't want to see any air bubbles there, and you just kind of put it towards a light source. Then you look at it and you see where you're at. And right now it's not really reading anything, but I am very interested to see if any alcohols are coming about in it now. So what I'm going to do, I got a little dirty rag here. I'm going to just wipe this down real quick, and then I'll clean it later on. I want to look at the sugars again. So, and this is a refractometer that will test the percentage of sugar in the mash. So again, what I'm going to take, I still have some of this in the pipette. I'm going to take this, and just like with the alcohol refractometer, you put a little bit on the viewing window here, and you close it, make sure there's no air bubbles in it, and you look at it through here, and I am down to 22% sugar. So I know the yeast are processing the sugars. It's not visible, the alcohol, the ethanol that they're producing yet. So like I say, y'all are going through this journey with me. I really want to find out, you know, the ratios and the actual facts surrounding this, because it's just in so many places, different places on the scale. So I definitely want to see, you know, the efficiency, and we can see what the ratios are here, and then kind of look at some of the energy inputs and fertilizer inputs and everything else into commercially cropped corns and other ethanol, I guess, fuels that you could ferment to make, or crops that you could ferment to make fuels with. So anyway, those are the refractometers. Also, what I want to do too, because I don't know if the mash is a little too hazy to check the alcohol on it through a refractometer, which strictly uses the refraction of light to test the value of something. I also have, so I got a hydrometer. I'm going to use that also, because I just want to see, again, you know, we're all doing this together, and thank you for bumbling through the editing processes and everything else here with me, because I'm really new with this. So So right here, what I have an infrared thermometer, and I want to look at the temperature. So the temperature of the mash here is, on this thermometer that's been sitting in here for a while, it's probably right around 23 degrees Celsius. So I'm going to hit it here. It's 68.7 Fahrenheit here. I want to see what it compares to on the Celsius scale, and that's at 20.4. And yeah, so it's at 20.4. So it's pretty close to what it is. This bucket's been sitting out in the cold shop for a little bit, out of the warm spot. So the outside of the bucket probably is a little colder than some of the mash is inside of it, and what the thermometer is picking up in there. So anyway, if you give me just a moment, I will be right back. I'm gonna go grab the hydrometer and something to dip some of this liquid out of it to see if what the proof percentage of alcohol is in it right now. So anyway, here I am back. This is a, I don't know, this is a hydrometer to check also. It's basically for proofing ethanol for cocktails, I guess. So I'm going to take this. This is a float in here, and it's pre-weighted. Then you got a scale on it, and I'll put it in this graduated cylinder here to see where it's at, because I'm just kind of interested in, because the specometer is not, or refractometer is not really giving me a lot of information. So what I have here is I've got this is a little silicone beaker, and they're nice. I mean, they're reactive, more reactive than glass or anything, and you can't put everything in them. But for doing stuff like this, they're real nice. And I also use them for like mixing a lot of two-part epoxies and vinyl ester and polyester fiberglass liquids. So anyway, but they're nice because you can see they're really, so if any of the epoxy or anything else in there, you can just kind of squeeze it out, and they clean up really easy for that function, even a little bit of two-part epoxy paints and everything else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to grab a little bit of this liquid, and only the liquid, so, which is hard. I don't want it, I guess it won't really matter if I get a couple pieces of corn in there. Anyway, so I've got that. I'm going to pour that in there. Now, this is probably going to be a small alcohol percentage by right now, so that the hydrometer is actually going to float pretty low in this solution, this mash solution. So I am coming back around. I'm going to pour a little bit more of here. And since I think it is going to be floating so high, I mean, that's plenty, even if it was, you know, pure alcohol. But it's hard to get alcohol beyond ethanol anyway with that, beyond 195 proof, which is about 97.5% alcohol, because it just binds up some water in it, and that's just the way things are. And that's most of the time, if it's 100%, it's going to have a tad bit of methanol in it, which they call denaturing. It's isopropyl alcohol. So anyway, I'm going to drop this right here. I'm going to drop this in here, and what we're going to look at, so you can see it floating, and right now it is at, so it's still at 0%. So here, so I can smell it, what smells like some ethanol in here, but I don't know. Like I say, this is a process. I've never really done this and kept track of everything the way I am now. But like I say, I have an interest in it. I have an interest in finding out what's going on and seeing if any of the information we've been given is correct. So, and if you're with me or joining with me, thanks for coming along with this journey for me, and the whole YouTube channel thing, and posting on Facebook and all that stuff, and putting up with me for all my silly nonsense also. So anyway, I'm going to cut this clip out now. I'm going to clean up my things, and I'll be back. We'll go over some of the ratios and a little bit of the math that's going into this to try to figure out where we're at and our efficiencies in this in the real world. So anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in with me. This will be fed into a larger clip, so I'm going to go home and try to do some of the magic of editing. And thanks for being with me. See you soon. Bye.